pub that had a zoo was the Skinner's Arms on the London Road, south of Mitcham Junction Station, on the way to Hackbridge. They had a lion, they had a bear, but what was their story? Let's find out. Alright, let's take a trip back in time, back to the 1930s, to uncover a story that honestly sounds like it's made up. It's a real tale about a community, one man's very unusual hobby, and some, let's just say, some very wild regulars at a local pub. Let me introduce you to Mr. Albert V. Turner. Now, he wasn't just the landlord, the guy pulling the pints, he was also a huge animal lover. His passion for it all really took off when he was living in East Africa, and he brought that passion all the way back home with him, turning his pub into something nobody had ever seen before. What Mr. Turner created was, well, what you'd call a menagerie. And unlike a big formal zoo, this was more of a personal collection. You know, his own private assembly of wild animals put on display for everyone to enjoy. And what a display it was. Okay, so let's take a little tour. Just imagine it's a warm summer evening. You step out into the pub garden and you're not just seeing a few picnic tables. No, you're stepping into a whole world buzzing with feathers and fur. And this was no ramshackle setup either. The grounds were beautiful, with pristine lawns and flower beds and animal cages dotted all around. There was even a sweet shop. And the best part, it was totally free to get in. You didn't have to buy a drink. It was Mr. Turner's gift to everyone around, and it drew in hundreds of visitors every single evening. And when I say hundreds, I really mean it. The garden was big enough to seat, 350 people. Just think about that. That's enough space for an entire neighbourhood to come and hang out. This wasn't just some quirky hobby. This was a massive local attraction. It was a place for the whole community to gather and just be amazed. You could even get in on the action yourself. For just a penny you could get a little packet of nuts from a slot machine and watch the monkeys cleverly get their snack. It was just this simple, wonderful joy that let people, especially kids, get right up close to the animals. Of course, whenever you get a bunch of big personalities together in one place, you're bound to get a little bit of drama. And the Skinner's Arms was no different, especially when a new star showed up. The new prince of animals was a lion cub, born just down the road at Chessington Zoo. But get this, Mr. Turner didn't buy him. Unbelievably, the cub was the grand prize in a charity competition for Surbiton Hospital, and Mr. Turner gave him his new home. But not everyone was rolling out the welcome mat. Mary, the resident black Himalayan bear, was definitely not ready to give up her title as the top animal. The newspaper article says that she showed particular resentment and hostility towards the little guy. You can just imagine the tension. And these animals definitely made a huge impression. One reporter who visited admitting to feeling a bit nervous while admiring the club's sharp teeth. I mean, this was a great reminder that this wasn't just some petting zoo. These were powerful wild animals, and that power was a source of real awe, and maybe just a little bit of healthy fear. But, you know, it wasn't all about the big guys, the lion and the bear. This menagerie was absolutely jam-packed with a whole cast of smaller, but seriously memorable characters. Let's start with the grand old man of the place, Mac the Macaw. The newspaper article said he was an incredible 90 years old, an absolute veteran, and from the sounds of it, the real star of the whole show. And what a star he was. He'd greet visitors by calling them father and mother. He'd do a little dance when Mr. Turner hummed a tune, and people said he was one of the finest macaws in the entire country. And on top of that, he had perfect manners, always chirping "ta" when you gave him a treat. Mac wasn't the only bird with a big personality though, he had rivals. There was this cockatoo who'd do an Irish jig while asking for a drink, and then there was Joe the jackdaw, who was like the hype man for all the other birds, always squawking, go on, go on. And the list just keeps going. There were super smart, sooty Mangabey monkeys, a really entertaining Java monkey, and even a couple of foxes. One of them was apparently as tame and docile as a dog. All of that, plus hundreds and hundreds of colourful birds from all over the world. So, let's wrap up this incredible story. It's pretty clear that what drove this whole thing, this was so much more than just a clever gimmick to sell a few more pints of beer. It was Mr. Turner. The collection, for him, was never really finished. His dream was just to keep growing it, to keep adding new animals, and to make this little menagerie even more representative for the entire animal kingdom. And you know, this wasn't some solo project. It was a real passion that he shared with his wife. Together they built this amazing place. And they only had one really firm rule for the crowds that showed up every day. Just to keep the animals safe and also calm, they didn't allow dogs. So when you boil it down, the Skinner's Arms Menagerie was this perfect, almost impossible combination of things. It was a pub, but a private hobby, and a huge place for local people to gather, and a kind of animal sanctuary, all rolled into one incredible place.